The Scottish IndyRef2 collapses as the Royal Bank of Scotland threatened to move from Scotland to England. Hello everyone and welcome to today's second update. Guess what we're going to talk about? Nicola Sturgeon, the SNP, and the dream of the Scottish independence. The same dream that was supposed to be crushed in 2014 because Alex Salmond, Nicola Sturgeon, and all the minions that they have told us that this is the vote. This is it. Once in a generation, we're going to give up. I told you at the time in 2014-15, they're not going to give up, and they haven't. But over the last year or so, we've seen ups and downs in Scottish politics. You've been following it on this channel. What we saw was 2019, saw a bit of surge in the opinion polls when it comes to Scottish independence. People were scared. The people who care about the integrity of the United Kingdom and our culture and the state of our politics were worried. I did say, do not worry, because that was basically because of the Brexit implementation period. The SNP and the Remainers were going around telling everybody in the country that after the implementation period, we're all going to be in trouble, the whole country is going to go down, so vote for the Yes campaign. Of course, it's been months since the end of Brexit, and everything's fine. Of course, there are issues that's been caused by the European Union, and we know that when it comes to Northern Ireland and the Dover border, but that's a different topic. But we're going to talk about what's happening with the SNP's dream. And Nicola Sturgeon, whose campaign is now going down. The elections are coming up. She was supposed to resign about a couple of months ago. She survived the Alex Salmond scandal, but the opinion polls every single day and every single week are showing a trend that the SNP are going down. Now they're saying that they could actually be losing at least 2 seats compared to the 2016 election. Now, the 2016 election was interesting because it was happening around the time of the Brexit referendum. And there was no justification for the SNP voters to freak out about Brexit at the time because it happened just before that. And so if you do worse than when we were still inside the European Union, it just proves that there are a lot of voters in Scotland who are just sick and tired of the lies that they've received from the Scottish government, from Nicola Sturgeon's party, and everybody else in charge of that administration. And they're also sick and tired of devolution. We know that. This system does not work. And it's not just about this election, because elections come and go. And the SNP will still get more seats than other parties. We know that. It's not really about this upcoming election. It's about what they really wanted to do. They wanted to get a big majority to have a mandate to have their second independence referendum. Now, they're showing the opinion polls that comparing to what we had in 2019, people have changed their mind. And we knew this. The numbers are actually getting extraordinarily massive in terms of the support that we are seeing for the No campaign. So if there was a second referendum tomorrow, according to this opinion poll, only 42% of voters have said that they would vote for Scottish independence, or as I say, isolation. And 49%, so almost 50% of Scots are now backing the No campaign. 8% are undecided. So undecideds are actually going down. They're moving towards the No campaign because when it comes to referendums and elections, you always have some people in the middle. The people who are passionate isolationists, they will always vote yes, of course. But it's the fact that the undecided are moving towards the No campaign. And the No campaign, don't forget, is a vote for the integrity of the United Kingdom. Is for a vote to protect all of you guys, not just in Scotland, but in England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. So for those people who think that Scottish politics is trivial if they live in England, it's not. It's going to affect every single one of us. We know that the way the central government has been working for the past few years, sending money to Holyrood for Nicola Sturgeon to waste, all that has to change, and the only way to do that is to vote against the SNP if you are in Scotland. Now, there are a lot of threats and warnings that are happening. We know that the latest we heard is from the Royal Bank of Scotland. Now, their headquarters is actually based in Edinburgh. And they have said that if Nicola Sturgeon wins and somehow happens to get her independence referendum and wins that vote as well, then they are more than happy to move to London. Now, this is a big blow because, of course, the RBS are no longer technically nationally linked to the Scottish government in that sense, but it's the nostalgia, it's a symbol of the Scottish culture. If RBS is leaving Scotland to move to England, what does that say about the state of politics that's been created by the SNP minions? So this is a huge news that is going to completely change the whole game that we've seen. Because the Alex Salmond inquiry brought down a lot of support for the SNP, but that was still a bit trivial when it comes to the independence votes. But there are economic warnings, there are cultural warnings about the potential collapse of the UK, and is moving towards the direction of transparency. Douglas Truss, who's the leader of the Tories, who has been okay, but is not getting enough attention compared to Ruth Davidson, is actually quite right to point out the problems and the flaws in this idea of independence. Nicola Sturgeon has no plan for the Scottish independent Scotland. She has no idea what she's going to be doing with the border between England and Scotland. One person from the SNP comes out one day to say that there will be a hard border. The next day, another one will come out to say, no, we're going to have a soft border. And then you're going to have next week Nicola Sturgeon coming to say, we're not going to have any border. And we also want to keep the pound sterling until we join the Eurozone. I'm sure you can perfectly, it's absolutely normal to demand Westminster, once you've left the Union, to say, can we keep your currency? Can we also not have a border? But we're going to stop the English people from coming to Scotland, like what they did during the lockdown. This is the reason that people in Scotland are waking up. The voters are not stupid. And the SNP have been taking them for granted for years because they've been lying, but the empty promises have now been exposed. Although, on the other hand, the opposition parties, they need to step up their game, because the Liberal Democrats, Willie Rennie, who's the leader of the Lib Dems in Scotland, is going back towards the Lib Dem fantasy land. He is very, very confident that the SNP will lose support. True. But he's very confident that the Liberal Democrats in Scotland are going to gain seats. They're going to increase their votes massively. I mean, we've heard this before from the Liberal Democrats across the country. Every election, whether it's local or national, the SNP are winning here. Only the Liberal Democrats are winning here. Only the Lib Dems are the real choice in your seat. The problem is, when you have Scottish voters right now, a lot of them are trying to consider voting for an alternative party. Not all SNP voters have been passionate completely about independence. A lot of them may be voting for the SNP for different reasons. It's the same with ironically, 2014, a lot of people who voted for UKIP, some of them didn't even vote for Brexit. There was a small chunk of UKIP voters who were voting for UKIP for different reasons than just Brexit. Same thing happens to the Scottish National Party. But when you have people like Willie Rennie coming out with this nonsense that, I can assure you the Lib Dems are the best choice and we are going to win, well, they're not going to be confident to vote for you. They don't even know what the Tories stand for in Scotland. They don't even know what the Labour Party stand for. One of these parties either need to step up their game to be the real opposition, or find a way to start a coalition. I know people hate that word, but some sort of unity against the SNP. Just stop being children and work together, because this is actually going to affect not just Scotland, but the rest of the UK. The problem with this election is that it's going to come up in the next couple of weeks, and we're going to be reporting this on this channel because a lot of you who are watching this from Scotland have been emailing us to get more updates. So don't worry, we'll be here for you guys, because the mainstream media, especially the BBC and Sky News, have been very quiet on the latest from Holyrood and the SNP government. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to receive our updates. I'm Tousi, and I'll see you guys in the next video.